I think that the AI regulation question mixes a number of different problems that should be kept separate. Personally, I think that Dario and Sam are highly intelligent individuals that are also not blatantly unethical, but also act very much on their own incentives in the present situation. As incumbent players in the AI model market, they're clearly incentivized to create a situation that makes it much harder for other startups to innovate and produce results that could disrupt the existing position that OpenAI and other companies have already created for themselves. And we have to weigh the cost of preventing innovation against the benefits of regulation that can remove potential harms that largely have not manifested so far. And despite all the fear that we have for many years, what AI is going to create in terms of disruption of deep fakes and so on, and the clamoring of a number of people who want to be regulators and want to have jobs in regulation, or who work in departments that are not able to make technological innovations and therefore try to participate in the value chain on the regulator side or on the opinion forming side. We have not seen most of these negative effects yet. And I think we are in a situation that is comparable to the beginnings of the internet. When the internet started, we didn't know about the harms that it would create. And the internet was going to create tremendous harms. It would distribute child pornography, credit card numbers. There would be data leaks, there would be copyright violations, there would be disinformation and all these things. And if we would have seen that's coming, if the New York Times would have seen coming that the internet would take away its advertising revenue and so on, we would probably be using teletext today and we wouldn't have any of the benefits of the internet, which are 100 times larger than the harms that the internet is giving us. And our regulation is typically incentivized to prevent, not to enable. That's a clear situation that you get with any kind of regulation. The other one is that the regulators currently are only incentivized to talk with the stakeholders that are already at the table, not with future stakeholders that will never enter the table if the regulation is preventing them from entering the market. Another thing is that some of the people who clamor for AI regulation are deeply terrified of AI. They have memed themselves into a doomsday situation where they feel that AI is going to very soon kill everybody, that the large language models are going to become self-aware and very angry at people, or accidentally being golemed into turning everybody into paper clips, and we cannot turn them off anymore. And we have to prevent this. And so there's a number of people, many of them very young, very emotional, who have a very strong incentive or feel they're very strongly incentivized to stop AI, pause AI. And they're a large part of the momentum that is currently propelling people like Max Tegmark, the FLI Institute, and so on. And for also some of the stuff that we just saw is connected to this. The other one is regulation that often exists for the incumbent players. When Germany was funding electric car development before electric car companies existed, it was only funding hydrogen. And clearly the idea was that the existing infrastructure of gas stations should not be disturbed. You want to have a stupid, dangerous, expensive technology that has the minimum amount of impact on the job market, even though there are better ways to distribute energy into cars. And it did require innovators that could outrun the regulators to make electric cars happen in the way in which they're happening now. BMW and Mercedes and so on were only banking on hydrogen back then. And I think this is an example where the regulators have to talk with the existing stakeholders that want to preserve their existing business models and want to have a very smooth transition. But I don't think that AI will be the first technology that creates more harm than good. Whenever we create new complexity, we have new opportunities for creation, we create more goods and services, there's more stuff to go around, and the problems that are created by AI will probably be solved with more AI, right? If you have less ability to understand things because there is more sources of information, more communication, more misinformation, we can use AI tools to create more transparency, to give us ourselves greater agency. And to do this, we need to be able to have connection to our own AI. We need to have models that individuals can use that are not forced down our throats by corporations or by our governments only, but we need distributed innovation, I think, at this point. And how to enable this is a difficult and open question. We really don't know. We are really at the beginning of a transition that has happening on so many dimensions. It's very hard to see what's going to happen next. And it's clear that it's making everybody very nervous. But I think at this situation, we need to regulate when we understand what we're regulating and how. And I found in my conversations with politicians that most of them are much more thoughtful than the political discussion that we see in the press, which is sometimes an outflux of a culture war, also between press and tech industry, where there are animosities. And also I feel that many of the statements of the big companies and public are not very thoughtful, but they are mostly PR that serve the interests of the corporation. And the same thing is happening on the other side. So I suspect that we should basically take a step back from many of the big public discussions and look at the more thoughtful backroom discussions of people who are not directly have their bottom line impacted or their political goals impacted. And I think we need more discussion before we can regulate efficiently.